Now, it's been a long, often vicious race for the governor's seat in Kaduna State, with opponents from the four leading political parties bashing and mauling each other with much fervour as they approach the culmination point. And that culmination point is, of course, this weekend, at a time when pundits say many voters could be suffering from election overload after the presidential ballot. All the candidates have been pushing hard to win popular support, but it looks set to be a four-horse race between Senator Sani of the APC, Issa Ashiru of the PDP, Jonathan Asake of the Labour Party, and Suleiman Hukuyi of the NNPP. It's the last roll of the dice for Governor El-Rufai. He won't be on the ballot, and as such, the election won't be influenced by the incumbency factor. So in those circumstances, amid all the controversies and issues around religion, ethnicity, and security, who's likely to win? Well, the APC governorship candidate in Kaduna State, Senator Sani, is hoping it'll be him. And Senator Sani joins me now on the line from Kaduna. Senator, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We're very glad to see you on the other side of the Mason-Dixon line, as they say. But first of all, let's start by getting you to tell us why you are seeking continuity of the APC in Kaduna State and the mandate of the people there. What are the singular achievements of the APC government of Nasser El-Rufai in Kaduna State that you can point to?
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the question. And the reason why I personally decided to vie for this very important seat for governorship of Kaduna State is simply because my one leader, Governor Nasser El-Rufai, and the people of Kaduna State appreciated what I have done personally in the National Assembly. When I was elected in 2019, I had the support of the people of Kaduna State, particularly those in Central Zone, comprising several local governments. But having been in the National Assembly for 3.5 years, close to 4 years now, I've done a lot in terms of attracting investment as well as development to my own state. I also try as much as possible to participate actively in most of the activities we've done in the National Assembly, to the extent that I have sponsored 32 bills. 2 of them have already been assented by Mr. President that become law in this country, and they have also directly and indirectly affected the people of my state positively. That is the reason why the people of Kaduna State came out loudly and asked me to come out and contest for governorship of Kaduna State. I'm happy they supported me during the primaries by voting me, particularly the APC's members. And of course, the people of Kaduna State generally appreciated what I've done so far in the National Assembly. That is why they came all out from the 23 local government to agitate and support me to contest for the election. And I'm happy they are giving me all the necessary support. Having said that, I also have to make it clear to you that Governor El-Rufai have done extremely well in Kaduna State in terms of infrastructural development, healthcare development, educational development, as well as human capital development in terms of creating jobs for our teeming youths and women, supporting women particularly in giving them opportunities, those who are entrepreneurs, to expand their businesses. He has done a lot also in the area of security. So these are the things that have actually encouraged me to come out, and I believe I'm the right person to continue to move the state forward from where Governor El-Rufai will stop. Of course, I also have to make it clear to you that Governor El-Rufai and I worked together for 4 years when I was his advisor on political affairs. So I was involved in some of the decision taking, and I believe I'm the right person to continue some of the good things he have done in Kaduna State that I have just mentioned. So these are the reasons.
Well, thank you very much indeed for setting out your stall there. But I'm sure you're aware that 9 political parties have come together as a coalition to endorse the PDP's governorship candidate in Kaduna State, Issa Ashiru, saying they want to rescue Kaduna State from the APC and ensure greater equity there. How much of a threat do they pose to your chances of being elected? I mean, how do you assess their political weight?
Let me make it clear to you that I'm not really worried about the so-called political parties that came out last week to support my opponents. The people of Kaduna State are very clever, we are cosmopolitan, we are brilliant people, and they are aware of what is happening politically in Kaduna State. On Saturday, by the grace of God, the people of Kaduna State will go out to vote for us on our individual track record. Issa Ashiru, just like me, had opportunity in the past to represent his people in the National Assembly. He was in the National Assembly, that's the House of Reps in particular. He was there for 8 years, and the people of Kaduna State are aware that in 8 years, Issa Ashiru did not sponsor a single bill, not even a single motion. So they are aware of who Issa Ashiru is. They know he doesn't have what it takes to be the governor of Kaduna State in terms of capacity and capability. That is why I'm not really worried. I'm not even surprised that he has to go out to get the endorsement of some political parties that do not even have addresses in Kaduna State. That is why I'm not worried. Most of them are just political parties that exist only on the briefcase. That is why I'm not worried. But the people of Kaduna State on Saturday will vote on the basis of our track records. And I'm here to challenge Issa Ashiru to come out and disagree with me if he has really done anything when he was the member of the House of Reps. He didn't really did much. When I was looking at his record in the National Assembly when I was elected 2019, I was shocked that Issa Ashiru did not even sponsor a single bill, neither did he move a single motion in 8 years. That is why I was really shocked. And again, I'm not surprised that a lot of members of the PDP even were worried when he was nominated by his own party to vie for governorship of Kaduna State. At the beginning, I was surprised, but when I look at his record, I was shocked when I see his track record. So I'm not worried about Issa Ashiru. I'm not even bothered about the so-called political party that exists only on the briefcase. So that for me is not a threat, neither is a challenge.
Well, I mean, you say you're not worried, and you said that repeatedly, but there are reports suggesting that you gave the governorship candidate of the Labour Party, Jonathan Asake, 100 million naira for him to remain in the race because you believe that the Labour Party will split the PDP's bloc vote in southern Kaduna. I mean, how true are those reports?
These reports are not true, I can tell you that, and that is why I'm not even bothered about that. Jonathan Asake and I are not friends. I respect him as a candidate of a political party. I can say clearly here without any fear of contradiction, he did better than Issa Ashiru when he was in the House of Reps. So I have tremendous respect for Jonathan Asake. For me, he's a better candidate than Issa Ashiru, to be frank. So I don't believe Jonathan Asake will even come to me to negotiate with me. I have not spoken with him in many, many months. Since the last time I saw Jonathan Asake was when we met in Kapanchan for debate. That was when Issa Ashiru dodged the debate because he was not prepared to join me and Asake for any serious debate on his agenda, his manifesto. So for me, the rumors go around by PDP that I have approached Jonathan Asake to remain in the race. I can say without any conclusion that is unfortunate. And I believe the people of Kaduna State will not be distracted, neither will I be distracted by such kind of social media rumors go around. So that for me is another figment of their imagination. But the fact remains, we will meet on Saturday at the polls, and I believe the people of Kaduna State will come out strongly to vote for me because, like I said, they are going to vote on the basis of a track record.
Well, let's turn then to the critical things in Kaduna State, and one of them, of course, is the level of insecurity there, which many people see as having worsened under the APC, with ethnic and religious conflict deepening, banditry on the rise. What would you do differently from Governor El-Rufai to deal decisively with insecurity in Kaduna State? I mean, what reforms would you put in place, especially in southern Kaduna, where there are lots of killings and revenge attacks?
Let me correct you, Mr. Childs, because I think the people coming to feed you with this information are just mischief makers. Governor El-Rufai was elected 2015, and I can recall vividly, before he was elected between 2011, or let me say between 1999 to 2015 in Kaduna, we have a series of religious crises where a lot of lives were lost, but not only in Kapancham, but in other parts of Kaduna State. But when El-Rufai was elected 2015 to date, I can remember only one serious religious crisis in Kaduna State. In the last 6 years, we've not had any crisis of religion in Kaduna State. But if you are talking about banditry, you cannot relate banditry with issue of religious crisis. Banditry issue is happening everywhere in Nigeria. And when you're talking about attacks by terrorists, by bandits, it's something that happens virtually in every state of this country. Kaduna State is not an exception. But if you are talking about religious crisis in Kaduna State, when Governor El-Rufai was elected in 2015 to date, like I said, let me emphasize, there was only one religious crisis in Kaduna State. Since that time, we have not experienced any religious crisis in the last 5 to 6 years. And I challenge anybody to come and disagree with my position. That is a fact. And the reason why we're having peace in Kaduna State in terms of the crisis that used to happen in Kaduna State is simply because Governor El-Rufai have tried as a governor to ensure that he rule the state on the basis of justice, rule of law, and equity. That is why we're having this peace in our state. But when people who are in PDP and those who have never visited Kaduna State come with such kind of allegations, for me, I don't think they're really helping matters. Sometimes I will assume they are talking about understanding of Kaduna State. The Kaduna State I live, I don't think we've experienced problem of religious crisis in the last 5 to 6 years.
Well, I mean, religious crisis takes on many forms. The current governor, Nasser El-Rufai, caused a lot of controversy when he broke with tradition in 2019, I believe, and ran on a Muslim ticket in a state that's divided between Christians and Muslims. You've done exactly the same, picking the same person, in fact, that he had as his deputy. And the opposing parties, led by the PDP, say that you are consciously sowing deeper divisions in the state, and that on that basis, you shouldn't be allowed to win. What's your reaction to that?
But the Muslim ticket that El-Rufai was elected on the basis of the Muslim ticket 2019, if you look at it, I don't think there's any problem about it in terms of when you look at the level of investment, the level of development. We are talking about development. Why are we now reducing ourselves to the level of religion and ethnicity? We've moved that. I think we have to stop talking about religion and ethnicity. We should be talking about development. And whether you like it or not, you will agree with me that Governor El-Rufai have done more than any governor in the history of Kaduna in terms of development. Even our enemies agree to that fact.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I'm
sorry to interrupt you, Senator Sani, but the reason it is important, I mean, you're obviously running for office, and I'm sure you're conscious of the fact of the optics and the feelings of people across Nigeria. It's not just in Kaduna State, and the importance for them to feel a sense of inclusion. So you must be aware of the fact that there's a lot of pain for a lot of people when you consistently ignore them in the equation of office.
I think we've talked a lot about Muslim ticket in the last election, the one that just passed, the presidential election. And for me, enough of that, because here in Kaduna, the most important thing is that I'm ready and prepared to treat everyone equally in Kaduna State. We are going to rule Kaduna on the basis of justice, equity, and freedom. So I don't think if there's anybody in my own state who believe that the Muslim ticket will marginalize anyone. I don't think so. So for me, when people are campaigning on the basis of attacking my governorship bid on the basis of religion, people like Isa Ashuru, is really unfortunate. He should be able to come up and talk about his own agenda, his manifesto, his program. The people of Kaduna State are more concerned about development than issue of religion. Let me be frank with you. Poverty have no consideration for religion or ethnicity. What we want is development. For me, I'm more concerned about development than the agitation about religion, ethnicity. Enough of that. So for me, honestly speaking, most of the people working with me, if you know me critically and very well, you know that most of my workers, my staffs are Christians, and I've never discriminated against them. They have absolute trust in me and believe in me. And I can assure you, on Saturday, a lot of Christians who vote for me, even pastors and reverends who vote for me. Those that were agitating and go around trying to create chaos and a problem in Kaduna State are people that even never voted, I can assure you. Those that are not even concerned about development and progress of our state. But those that cares about Kaduna State are more concerned about development of our state. And today, a lot of people are happy with what we've achieved in Kaduna State in the last 7.5 years. For me, that is more important than agitation that will never, ever be useful to the people of Kaduna State.
Well, I hate to keep banging on about it, but I'm sure you're aware of the fact that the religious and ethnic balance issues to do with politics in Nigeria are absolutely critical and are very important in maintaining balance in a state and giving people a sense of inclusion. But let's move beyond that, because you talked about development, and there appear to be a lot of people who are unhappy with the policies of Governor El-Rufai. They believe his transformation agenda, for example, it was particularly harsh, with many people losing their livelihoods due to things like demolition of houses, the remodeling of markets, the sacking of some traditional rulers, etc. I mean, these are obviously controversial policies. Do you support them or not? And are you concerned that those policies might affect your chances at the ballot box?
Look, El-Rufai as a human being, I have said it repeatedly, and I want to say it here again. Those people that are emphasizing about El-Rufai's policies are people that are mischievous. He said it clearly. Even today, in one of our programs, he said it. Even I'm sure in one of his interviews, he said it. You journalists are aware of that he, as a human being, have done his best. But he is a human being. He can make mistakes. And he said it loudly and clearly that when I'm elected, by the grace of God, areas that he has done something that is really, really good, I will improve it and I'll continue. Certainly, where he made mistakes, I will correct it. He's a human being. Every leader can make mistakes. But what I'm saying, is let's not always talk about his mistakes. Why can't we talk about his achievements? For me, that is the area I'm bothered about. I'm more concerned about. He has achieved a lot, and let's talk about his achievement. Why he made mistakes as a human being, just like any other leader, We will correct it. Definitely, he's a human being. He has never said that Ubasan will come and continue everything I've started. He never said that. He said it clearly, that Ubasani will come where we've done something good. He will continue. Where we made mistake, he will correct it. That is the position.
So you don't mind if I jump in there and ask you, where do you think he made mistakes?
Sitting here, I don't think I'll be fair to even my supporters or you to sit down and be saying he has made mistake here and there. But I can give one example. We were in Zaire with him this afternoon, and Governor Erufai came out openly when the religious leaders, both Muslim and Christians, were talking about why did he stop sponsoring them to go to Hajj and Jerusalem. He told them his reason, but he also made it clear to them that Ubasani, who is sitting here with me, have disagreed with me on that. When he comes in, he said he will put aside my own position and now start sponsoring it to go to Jerusalem and Hajj. So that is one example I'm giving you. So he is someone who is very understanding. He's a human being. He made his mistakes, but he has done better things than the mistakes. That's what I'm saying. So I'll give you one example. But he always came out openly to address people of Kaduna State and tell them, Ubasani, like any other person, have worked with me for 4 years, and he knows where we made mistakes, and he will correct them when he comes. That is what he keeps saying. But I don't have to come here to tell you, but by the grace of God, I know those mistakes, and I'll correct them.
Well, it's interesting that of all the things we mentioned, you chose the one of going to Hajj and Jerusalem. I mean, that's obviously a controversial topic.
Yes,
but I suppose for you it's safe ground until you get elected. But let's shift a little from the politics of Kaduna to national politics and the kind of impact it might have had, because Atiku Abubakar of the PDP won the recent presidential election in Kaduna State, forcing the APC into second place in spite of its incumbency there. What are the complications or the implications for you and the APC of that loss? How much might it have stolen your momentum and your thunder in Kaduna State?
Mr. Charles, let me be very clear to you. I don't think the last election will affect gubernatorial election in Kaduna State in any way. Like I said, maybe you are not listening to me carefully. I said it repeatedly. The people of Kaduna State are not like other states. We are very cosmopolitan, brilliant. There are people that are following the achievements of every candidate. On Saturday, they will come out and vote their governor on the basis of a track record. Issa Ashuru have nothing to show. I can tell you here, and if he likes, he can come and disagree with me. Remember, only yesterday, someone told me that Issa Ashuru came to your studio, or maybe granted an interview, saying he wanted to negotiate with the bandits and terrorists. For me, it's unfortunate. A gubernatorial candidate of Kaduna State do not even know that it's illegal to even negotiate with terrorists. We have passed that. And here is a man that was in the National Assembly for 8 years. So for me, it's unfortunate. Maybe he's not really following the events that happens in Katsina and Zamfara State. Even the governors of Katsina and Zamfara State have regretted trying to negotiate with the terrorists. So why is he trying to take another step back? Because he's not aware of the complicity of insecurity in our states and Nigeria as a whole. And as a member of the National Assembly in the past, he should be aware that the issue of security is major responsibility of the federal government. That is why, as a senator, I was a senator that sponsored a bill to create state police in Nigeria. I want you to go and check. I was that senator that actually sponsored that bill. Why did I sponsor a bill for the creation of state police? Because I know by our constitution, state governors do not have powers to even instruct police or army or air force or navy. That is the problem we're having. And we are lacking boots when in terms of the security personnel we have in Nigeria. That is why I sponsored the bill for the creation of state police. Maybe he was not also aware that sitting here, I'm the senator that sponsored the bill for the amendment of Firearms Act in Nigeria to give vigilante services in Nigeria the opportunity and the legal authority to work closely with the Nigerian army. And it was even the chief of army staff, when I called them for the public hearing, that suggested that we have to add a clause in the Firearms Act that was obsolete for 15 years. And why did I decide to amend the Firearms Act? It's simply because it was obsolete. It was not amended for 15 years. And when you listen carefully, maybe you have to go back to the report of the United Nations Center for Disarmament in Africa. Their report is very alarming, where they said we have about 500 million illegal firearms in circulation in West Africa. And out of those 500 million illegal firearms, about 350 million are domiciled in Nigeria. And that is why I look at the Firearms Act and I look at the penalties. And I realized that it was obsolete. I came up, sponsored the amendment, and I'm happy that my own colleagues in the Senate supported me. The bill has since been passed by the Senate. It's in the House of Reps. It has passed this first reading, and by the grace of God, before the end of this 9th Senate, I have no doubt in my mind, Mr. President will assent to that bill. That will add to 3 bills that I've sponsored and become law in this country. So we're talking about development, we're talking about how to tackle insecurity. But a candidate from Kaduna State talking about negotiating with bandits is unfortunate. For me, it's sad.
Okay, I want to thank you very much indeed, Senator Uba Sani, for taking the time to talk to us, and we wish you all the very best as you go for elections on Saturday. We also obviously wish the other candidates all the very best as well. Thank you very much indeed. Senator Uba Sani is the APC governorship candidate in Kaduna State, and he was talking to me there on the line from Kaduna.